is Jason and this is Just Watches. Alright, today we have a review of the Orient Defender 2. Now I'm very late on this watch, it's been out for a really long time, but I've been eyeing it for a while. I finally had the chance to pick one up and I have to say it surprised me and it's a great little watch. However, before we begin, if you're enjoying the content of this channel, I invite you to subscribe, and if you like the content of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. So for price and availability, the MSRP on this watch is $350. However, at the time of this recording, they are available for around $160 from third-party vendors such as Joma Shop. So starting with the case, it's 42.5 millimeters in diameter, 49 millimeters lug to lug. It's 12.5 millimeters thick, and then has a 22 millimeter lug width opening. Now the case is fully brushed except for right where the end link connects to the head of the watch. Now this is perfectly fine for a field watch and I actually prefer all brushed finished here. The lugs taper down slightly, but the watch on the stock bracelet definitely feels 49 millimeters lug to lug. I think this watch will actually wear better on a strap, and I'll go over that more later. The stock bracelet starts at 22 millimeters. The hollow end links have some play. The articulation of the bracelet across the back of the watch is okay, as is the articulation between the links. Better articulation in these two areas is usually correlated with a much more comfortable bracelet overall. The 3-link style bracelet finish is all brushed, and it tapers down to 19 millimeters before jumping back up to 21 millimeters on this very small clasp. The clasp is signed with the Orient logo and is operated by double push deployment action. The scissor is stamped metal, which is fine at this price point. However, the clasp only has one micro position, so getting the right fit here will likely be challenging. Sizing is accomplished with standard split pins. I'm glad they included a bracelet since I'm not super picky about bracelets and I do generally prefer them, but I think most people are going to want to switch this one out for a strap. I'll have this watch on a strap later, and as you will be able to see, I think it improves the overall look of this watch. The screw-in case back is quite sterile and helps provide 100 meters of water resistance. There's a variety of stats printed around the edge and the Orient logo in the center. This watch is powered by the Orient Caliber F6B22, which is a nice upgrade from the version 1 Defender, which did not hack or hand wind. This movement is a 21,600 vibration per hour movement and does hack and hand wind, has a 40-hour power reserve, and a stated accuracy of -15 to +25 seconds per day. It also features a quick set day and date. The 7mm screw down crown is signed, albeit faintly. The knurling is nice and it is easy to operate the watch via this crown. The threading and unthreading action is a tiny bit gritty, but nothing like what I've seen on some Seiko watches. The flat mineral crystal sits just proud of the bezel and has a visually pleasing facet all the way around the edge. Now, I'd love to see sapphire crystal here, but maybe that's something we'll get on the Defender version 3. Now, I'm a sucker for busy dials and I really like this one. The fixed chapter ring has each of the 5-minute designation printed in Arabic numerals, and this chapter ring is quite thick and has the effect of making the watch wear smaller than its 42.5 millimeter diameter. The matte olive green color is very closely matched to the dial. The indices are applied and have very strong lume with a double index at 12. There are hash marks for each of the minute positions and then smaller ones further dividing the minutes. At around the 10 o'clock position, there is a slightly sunken sub-register with the day of the week. Across from that is the Orient logo, which honestly is a bit of a strange logo and I wouldn't mind seeing it redesigned, but I can live with it. The date window resides at 3, and then finally we have a large 24-hour sub-registers at about 5 o'clock position. Now I know the 24-hour sub-register is a divisive complication, but I love it here because it balances out this very busy dial. And then they used a very small orange hand for this 24-hour sub-register, which matches the orange used on the tip of the second hand, and I think these two elements are a perfect splash of color on this watch. The sword style minute and hour hands are semi-skeletonized. Now I love partially skeletonized hands because I think they look really interesting, especially when they overlap each other and kind of create cool shapes between the two of them. Now they don't serve much function on this watch because the ends of the hands are filled with lume and those tend to block the date sub-register. Nevertheless, I really like the hands here and they pop really well against the matte green dial. The minute hand is plenty long, a detail I'm very particular about, and the second hand is all white, also very long, and then has that long counterbalance and that very nice orange arrow at the tip. And we're getting a nice result on the Timegrapher here in the dial up position, running between plus about 6 seconds a day with healthy amplitude and 0 beat error. And then crown up, still around 5 to 6 seconds a day, little drop in amplitude, tiny bit of beat error, but overall this watch is running really well. And then as you can see for the Lume shot, I'm putting it up against the Seiko Monster, which has excellent lume, and it is definitely keeping pace. And here is the watch on the stock bracelet on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. You can see the lug-to-lug extends across the whole top of my wrist, but the watch wears well, despite feeling a bit thicker than its 12.5mm dimension. And changing it out for a leather strap, I think this watch not only looks better, but also wears more comfortably, and that 49mm lug-to-lug doesn't seem as pronounced when the watch is on a strap. So as for pros, this is a solid little field watch. It has 100 meters of water resistance and a screw down crown, so you shouldn't be afraid to get adventurous with it. The dial is busy in a fun and interesting way and very legible. The lume is really bright, and I appreciate the upgrade to a hacking and hand-winding movement for this iteration. As for cons, the bracelet is just okay, but with a 22mm lug width, an alternative strap isn't going to be hard to find. And then I'd love for them to charge just a bit more and then add a sapphire crystal, especially on a field watch. You know, this is a tool, you want to take it hiking, you don't really want to worry about smashing it into things, so that'd be a nice upgrade. So is this one worth the money? Well, don't pay MSRP for it, but if you can find it for around $160, which you usually can, this is a great little watch. I picked this one up just out of curiosity because I wanted to review it, but found myself connecting to it almost instantly and wearing it way more often than I expected I would. It also comes in a number of other colorways. So there you have it, the Orient Defender 2. What do you guys think about this watch? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you're enjoying the content of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you've been watching Just Watches.